I admit it, I love to see something first, and we have something to share with you. These are from Spellbinders.
They are cut and emboss folders, so you can do two things at once, and we're going to show you how to do that.
Exactly. Come play with us. And here they are. Okay.
Wow.
I know. Well, part of the thing of getting things before anybody else, Spellbinders sent us these prototypes. In fact, we have to send them back. Now, by the time this airs, they will be in packaging and it will all look lovely.
Right. But as it is, these are embossing folders, which you're familiar with. But the nice thing about these, you've got these embossing areas. You also have die cutting areas. So they've actually inserted cutting dies into the embossing folder. Those don't come out, and within each of those little areas that will cut a hole through your paper, just like a die cut should do, there are little sponge areas that are going to push the little pieces out so that they don't get stuck in there. So that's kind of nice.
And this is the Rose Flourish, and you've got a sample to show what that looks like.
It starts off looking like this. I'm going to put this black paper behind it so you can see what those die cut areas do. So you can see right through those little die cut areas, but you're also getting beautiful embossing, and each one of these has a beautiful floral look. These measure 4 1/4 by 5 7/8. So
yeah, hold that there. Okay. And let's show this. We'll back up a bit so you can see. So here it is, white paper, elegant and lovely.
Right.
Here it is out of our metallic gold, and is that not just gorgeous?
It is beautiful.
Absolutely.
And the great thing about this is that you run it through in one pass. It's going to die cut and emboss for you. And I just want to show you what that looked like with our Big Shot die cutting and embossing machine. So here's the platform base right here. And I've got my 2 plates and I've got my embossing folder. If I open this up all the way to the last plate, this is where I ended up placing my sandwich. And depending on what kind of material you're going to put in that embossing folder, is it going to be paper or cardstock? That's going to change the thickness. And here's what happened. Once I put that paper within the embossing folder, I can either put it between these 2 plates and run it through like that if it's a very thin paper, or if it gets thicker like a cardstock, I actually removed one of the plates below. And then you can just put varying stacks of cardstock, 1 piece, 2 pieces, whatever's going to make enough pressure to go through and emboss and cut that piece of paper.
So I'm betting that with this metallic gold, since it is a thinner paper, that way it does that beautiful embossing that
I was able to use both of those die cutting sandwich pieces.
Okay.
Right?
And the black back here is not black cardstock. It's actually our suede paper. It has that deep color.
Right.
So it's just really, really pretty. And the dazzles you'll see are the inside-outside dazzles. So very, very popular.
So really simple to do. I just cut and embossed this piece in one pass, like I said. Then I matted it on the suede, wrapped a ribbon around there, and you're technically done.
And you added the dazzles and then the rhinestones. Now you can see that these have been used, but we've carried these forever. And what I like is that you get so many sizes on one sheet.
That's what I like about it too. So everything you need right there. I used a really big one, the medium, and the small ones on the little butterflies.
Very beautiful. Just gorgeous.
And
just
then
gorgeous.
Run it through again and take just a piece of it, mat that, and you have another beautiful look for the inside.
Excellent. Very, very nice. Okay. Now this was the Rose Flourish.
Right.
And now we're going to go to the Blooming Sprigs.
Blooming Sprigs.
So you can see that it has the cutting dies right there. And this one, I'm going to show the project. Now, here it is. And just really pretty. This is, of course, on our center step card.
Right. So very simply run through. It does the cutting and embossing, and then you just hit the top of it with an ink pad. And I have that. It was the Distress Oxide ink pad. And I can show you that really quick. Let me just show you that piece. And one little extra thing I did to just sort of be sure that I didn't get ink all over my piece. So here it is, cut and embossed
I was going to say that you did a very nice job on that.
Thank you very much. But one little trick is placing some sticky notes in the surrounding areas, because I didn't really want to get any of the ink there, and it just, you can even tear it into pieces to make smaller pieces.
I thought you were going to say it's a steady hand. Aha! You used a little aid.
A little help, and there's nothing wrong with that, I can tell you. So it just makes life a little bit easier. Make sure you put the sticky side toward this so it stays like so. Anyway, I did go around and hit the larger areas, and then directly from the ink pad, and this is the Distress Oxide Worn Lipstick. I love the Distress Oxide. And then you just start hitting the top of it, and I don't press down really hard. I just sort of lightly hit and go around the edges like so.
Now, of course, you could use a stylus, you could use a cosmetic sponge.
But it's nice that this is right here, and it's actually pretty firm. It's not really spongy.
Yeah.
So it's a nice surface to apply your ink. And isn't that cute? And then at the end, I cut it down to fit the card just right, and I cut around that little leaf at the top. You can see that.
Oh, right. So
there.
Poking up, very nice.
And then do another one and cut strips for the side pieces. And this is done with the Ruby Rose paper pack.
Of course.
Beautiful colors.
Really, really nice. And you've done some stamping with the floral doodles. That is just really, really nice.
It's really pretty. So two really different looks.
Right.
I like that.
And this is with the blooming sprigs. Okay, so now we're going to go to the Floret Cluster. Yes, I know it looks similar to the others. Bear with us. There will be packaging.
And here are the areas that are going to cut through. So when you see these are the pieces that are going to cut, and this is not the one.
I didn't look like it.
So it's this one. It is the Flower Garden. There we go.
Okay.
Flower Garden was used on this one. I'm going to turn it sideways. So here you can see the little die cutting pieces, and you can see where they cut out the centers of those. And this is kind of interesting. So what Debbie did with this one is she took that silver linen paper, and let me just get in here with the embossing folder real quickly. She placed it in there and ran it through this way, and then turn it around and ran it through the top side. So she hit the top and the bottom.
So this is one piece.
That's one piece,
right.
And she hit the top and the bottom with that. So I just thought that was a great idea.
And this is, as you said, on the silver linen. So we have the metallic gold, which is a smooth finish. This has a slight texture to it, but it worked very nicely.
Right, the Stays On Black ink pad was used to get those embossed surfaces.
And just like the first card, just doing a piece of it, just a fragment of it, just works really, really nicely.
That's just a nice technique with embossing folders. I love using just strips of them because you can see all of that beautiful embossing.
And this again is the suede, and so that's going. Right. Okay, now we're going back to the Floret Cluster, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So now, here we have this. Wow.
Isn't that beautiful?
Look how pretty that is.
And so now we've got this, we've turned it like so. So that's working like this. You can see that large piece, and you can see the die cutting areas.
It's kind of lacy flowers, if you will.
And if you look at the centers of the flowers, that's where you can see through those die cut areas, through here, through that other little flower.
And up here.
Isn't it beautiful? And these are done on the luxury cardstock. It's Crafter's Companion. So you're going to get 3 different types of cardstock in there.
Yeah.
You get a glitter, you get a matte, and you get a mirror. And they're all in complementary shades. Right. So all of that was used with this. And also the indigo blue scrapbooking dazzles.
Indigo lace.
Indigo lace. I always say that because it goes with those papers. Indigo makes me think of that.
So really pretty, and on the inside, very pretty. So these are just the dazzles being used on that cardstock, but just gorgeous.
But that piece on the front, so I did a little more than just, so this is just die cut emboss. There it is, and I could have just placed that on there just like so, but I decided to use a little Nouveau embellishment mousse. Oh. And this one is the platinum, I guess, the pure platinum. And I'm
Sounds really elegant, doesn't it?
It does. I'm going to take out just a little tiny bit. I don't really even need much more than that. And I will make sure to cover that tightly so that that won't get dry. And once it's here, then I can just pick it up with my finger, just kind of lightly pounce it around and just get a little bit at a time on your finger and start just lightly tapping on that flower.
So you're not rubbing it?
You can go back and forth a little bit, but I don't want to press down because I don't want it to get it. So I'm just barely sort of tapping it on the top of those flowers and around the edges. It doesn't take very long, but once I'm done, I've got those flowers to stand out a bit. and that's what I want. So here's a note. If you do get it in the background, I can really, if you see it quickly, just a little water. I just actually stuck my finger in my mouth.
She spit on it is what she did.
And got that off just a little bit. And if you do that quickly, that'll work just fine.
And it makes such a really nice statement. Just gives it away from the teal a little bit into the silver finish. Just lovely. So all of them have just been easy to do, but changing the material. So we've got one more.
And they're all very striking.
Yes.
So that's it. You get this great look really simply. So the last one, we're going to go back to the flowered garden.
Okay.
And bring in a beautiful page.
Right. Now, it's nice to know that we can use anything for card making or scrapbooking. So scrapbookers, you're never left out. And here is an example.
Here's an example. So when this is cut and embossed, it looks like this. And I want to say,
whoops.
and I want to say that when Debbie first did this, she had those on there just like so. And we really thought that was beautiful, just like that, no inking, but adding a little ink really helps it to stand out. So she did that, and then she cut them out around. So if I place this one next to here, you'll see
back up a little bit.
She just cut out right next to that one right there, so that she could stack them one on top of the other. She cut 3 of these.
And she backed it with white.
And she backed them on white. And what else did she do? She also cut out little individual pieces of those. So a little inking, cutting out the individual pieces, which I love that. And a beautiful look.
And again, this is the indigo lace, so that's that wonderful with lace and wood together. So the flowers coming in just to echo the same statement.
I love that the inking sort of makes it look like suede.
It does, doesn't it?
I keep thinking that it's suede paper. So
very, very pretty. And nice when you've got a variety of photos, but still want to have some embellishment that's going to be lightweight and flat. Just works nicely. So those are the previews, and I think we've lost them.
The packaging isn't, stand out a whole lot. Yeah, we should have one more.
Yeah, we should.
Oh, maybe I have it in the, okay, I've got it over here.
And there's actually a 5th one, but we didn't get that prototype. So we do have the 4, so they are all...
But look what you can do with that. Just beautiful.
And that's what we love.
And simple.
Yes, easy to do. So thank you, Spellbinders, for sending those. And yes, I'll get them right back to you. And we'll see you next week.
Okay.